Mob Hall, which represents the east part of Dallas County. Students in Dallas County have been exposed to danger. Students with disabilities have been left at home, forcing them to miss school. Other students have been dropped off late, missing breakfast, and even some classroom time. The perpetrator in all these instances is Dallas County Schools, an outdated, unnecessary bureaucracy that is dangerous for students, and it is certainly a ripoff for Dallas County taxpayers. Dallas County Schools doesn't hire teachers or educate students. It runs buses to transport students, and it does so in a shockingly poor and dangerous fashion. And students and parents deserve much better. For an entity that is regularly trusted with the lives of many thousands of students, DCS track record is terrible. And that starts with the hundreds of red lights run by DCS bus drivers. In August of 2016, in a hearing before the Senate Education Committee, DCS superintendent was grossly unprepared and incapable of answering even basic questions about their finances and their operations. Clearly, his silence was either from ignorance or incompetence or an intentional effort to hide the financial crisis and corruption that are leading DCS to the brink of collapse. And of course, neither is acceptable. DCS is completely unaccountable to taxpayers and financially corrupt. It has recently come to light that the agency has a budget deficit of $42 million. $30 million of taxpayers' money is currently unaccounted for. This mountain of evidence points to one conclusion. DCS must be abolished with a thoughtful and orderly wind down to protect students, parents, and schools that are currently being served. The time for reform is long since gone. The situation is very dire. Without legislative action, the collapse of DCS will pull the rug out from under students and schools, leaving them with a potentially costly and unexpected, ill-timed transition to find another bus provider. That's why I filed Senate Bill, which we filed this morning, 1122, to create an orderly and thoughtful wind down of this rogue bureaucracy that is collapsing at an alarming rate. They are in a crisis mode, which is why the legislature is going to step up to protect parents, students, and taxpayers, and of course the schools that are using them. Students deserve better, and so do Dallas County taxpayers. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Yes, let me just say about that. My tone and approach yesterday were out of line, and I'm sorry for engaging in a heated debate with that group. However, I will not apologize for defending a policy that will benefit students, parents, and schools in the state of Texas. I am passionate about school choice because school choice focuses on the students. And the adults in the room yesterday and the PTA liberal activists were making a case for bureaucrats and buildings over the students. I will agree with the Richardson ISD superintendent. The students in the room, which was maybe a quarter of the audience, was generally polite and well behaved. I wish I could say the same for the adults. But no matter how disappointed maybe those students were yesterday in my actions, it doesn't compare to how disappointed a student is going to feel when they're trapped in a failing school system and they need to get out of it. But that's the only comment I want to make on what happened yesterday, or education and school choice, and meeting with those liberal PTA activists. What I want to talk today about is Dallas County schools.
Senator, how confident are you that the 18-month wind-down time frame in your bill would give Dallas ISD in particular time to find a new provider? They obviously have hundreds of bus routes every day. They've expressed some concern about how much time it would take to fill that gap if they're no longer able to contract with DCS.
Well, they've just recently entered into negotiations, or will be signing soon, a contract with Dallas County Schools. DISD will be, for about an 18-month period. For the rest of this year and all of next year, I've been in communication with most of the stakeholders that use the DCS services, and of course took all their comments into suggestion on this legislation. And keep in mind, this legislation still is fluid, and it can change. We can do committee substitutes on this, and we'll be looking at that with further discussions on the stakeholders. But I am confident, and they are confident, that the superintendent that Hinojosa, and the board members I've spoken with, that they can find an alternative means to transport their students by the fall of 18.
What would happen to the tax money that Dallas County Schools currently collects during a period where they'd be operated by this dissolution committee proposed?
Well, we're going to, right now, the bill instructs the dissolution committee to keep the tax rate out there till the bonds are totally paid off and rolled off, which hopefully won't take very long, maybe 2 or 3 years.
You talk much to other senators to feel like you have support?
I do. We have great support in the Senate to get rid of this rogue bureaucracy. It's dangerous for the students, and that we've got to focus on the students and the student safety. It's unreliable. This is an unreliable form of transportation, and it's certainly financially mismanaged to the point of corruption. So it's imperative that we get rid of this agency like we did all the other countywide school districts in the state of Texas.
I would like to ask, morning news recently did a story showing that there are just not very many private schools in areas where schools are failing and students are poor. How do you respond to the idea that even if you did vouchers, there's not schools for those students to go to?
You know, I'm here. I really want to stay focused on Dallas County schools. I appreciate your question, but that's all I'm going to speak on school choice, because this conference right now, what we're talking about is Dallas County schools and about this rogue bureaucracy and how we're going to eliminate it.
Senator, DCS has said that they believe they save taxpayers money currently because of sort of the economy of scale. They serve 12 local school districts. How do you react to that?
I don't think they even know how they spend their money. They can't find $45 million off their books. I mean, 30 million is missing off the books and 45 million is under budget. I don't think you can trust anything they say about their finances. So, look, there's 40% of the school districts and of the students that could need transportation. The school districts in Dallas County don't use their services at all. The second largest school district in the county, Mesquite, doesn't use them. Garland doesn't use them. Sunnyvale doesn't use them. Grand Prairie, Duncanville. Yet everyone in the county pays the taxes. So you got 40% of the county subsidizing the other 60%.
How concerned are you about the amount of debt that they've taken on and the payments required on that debt just over the next 6 months to a year and what may happen there?
It's very concerning. It really is very concerning. Their operations lend themselves to believe that they might have to miss some debt payments. And that's why this organization could implode upon itself before this legislation even becomes a law. So we have to be ready for that. The sense of urgency is there to act now to protect students and protect the school districts that are using these services and to protect Dallas County taxpayers. We must act. And it's imperative the legislature responds, and that's what we're going to do. That's why I filed the bill. We're going to wind them down in an orderly manner and do away with them like we've done away with 252 countywide school districts in the state of Texas. Any other? Yes, Senator Hall, want to say something? Well, I want to thank everybody for coming today. Thank you very much for coming. This is a very important issue for Dallas County, for our student safety, and for our taxpayers in Dallas County. Thank you very much for being here today.